Carter, Isaiah Abraham has hit the portal, first UConn Husky to do so. Not necessarily a huge surprise. He was a four-star freshman who had some hope of playing some role off the bench for UConn this season. That did not happen. He only appeared in 9 games. He is now looking elsewhere. What should we know about Abraham, the player?
So like in the small spurts that I saw Abraham, even like going back to his freshman year, and I know it was super sparingly, but there's something to like about this kid. He was a top 75 consensus kid, right?
Mm.
Has good size, is kind of like this wing player, 6'7", 205, has athleticism. You can see something there with him. He just never necessarily got the chance this year. Now, it was sparingly him not getting on the floor. And sometimes with these transfers, these guys that play sparingly, I like to look at like maybe why they didn't.
Yes.
And I feel like both sides of this when I look at this, because if I'm Dan Hurley, if Isaiah Abraham was good enough and can do what exactly he could do, given who was on this year's team, like that guy should have got minutes. I'm assuming there's a reason that he did not, and I'm gonna lean Hurley a little bit. But then on the other side of that, in those sparing minutes of Abraham, I found myself saying like, things aren't really going well for UConn this year. Maybe give that guy some more run, see what he can do.
Yeah, I think there's some credence to both of those things. I'll bring up solo ball as somebody who his freshman season did not play much for UConn, but everybody saw the flashes, and he
Hmm.
also saw enough, or Hurley saw enough from him to make sure he stuck around, right? The end
Right.
result was him having a really good year. He's now going to be UConn's like focal point going into next season. That UConn team won a national championship. So there's a reason why like Solo Ball wasn't playing a ton. We see how good of a player he is. The fact that Abraham could not get on the court with a UConn team that was not the deepest in the world and was
Mhm.
not the best we've seen from them, I do think is telling. At the same time, there's also a freshman learning curve that happens anywhere. Going to play for Dan Hurley, I can only imagine that there is a learning curve involved with that as well. Liam McNeely appears to be the only one who didn't really have to go through that. Um, so like, would you be more willing to take a chance on a guy who didn't play much as a freshman, whether it's situation, whether it's just the freshman wall, as opposed to somebody maybe a sophomore or a junior who's looking for a bigger role that wasn't able to crack it in 2 or 3 years?
I'm a little less hesitant to give him an opportunity because, kind of like I said, freshman, yeah, you see how it goes. You see kind of, freshman wall, being a freshman, getting used to playing college basketball. As a sophomore, then you start to, and look, I think it's also a very singular situation with this one as well because Abraham was getting DMPs. He played 9 games this year. Like that's like it wasn't like, there was ever a really, I mean, on a night to night basis, you were not seeing him, right? He
Mhm.
played 9 games, only 3 minutes in those 9 games. He just wasn't ever seen to be a part of the plan. If he was a part of the plan, then I think he would have played a little bit more. So, I'm hesitant to just, see if this guy's worth a bigger role. But also at the same time, I'm a sucker for like DMV kids. Yeah, he prepped that I think it was like Paul VI. I'm a sucker for
Yep.
like WAC conference schools. So I don't know. I'm certainly seeing he gets himself a chance somewhere else, and hopefully he chooses the right spot where maybe he can play a little bit more. And it was just kind of tough for him to break the rotation on a team that is trying to win championships.
Where do you think that could be? Because that's the next step in this. There, no list has been unveiled yet by Isaiah about where he's looking or teams that have shown interest. Uh, Providence, Marquette, Virginia Tech were in the mix, recruiting him out of high school. All three of those teams, I think, could probably use his services, particularly Providence and Virginia Tech, who just need talent upgrades everywhere. And Abraham is, I think, something still of an upside swing. Hoping you can tap into some of the high school pedigree that made him a consensus top 75 prospect. What kind of team should he be looking at, or should be looking at him?
Yeah, I could see Shaka taking a shot at him, just given like some wing size, and I
Yeah.
know they got a lot graduating, but I don't know. I think I kind of like the way that you take this. I think he needs to go where he's going to play certified, right? And if he is the level talent that people think he is, if he's the talent he thinks he's himself is, he'll elevate that team. I had the hardest time sending guys to Virginia Tech right now, but the Virginia Tech does make sense. Not sure what Coach Young's doing over there. That'd be a shout. Possibly, he's a Virginia kid, so maybe he wants to go there as well, play in the ACC. I don't know. I do think though that I guess I'll ask you this, Rob. Do you think he's still a high major talent, or do you think like a step down would make sense? Like, because also I could see like a 6'7", 200-pound guy like him having some success in like the A10, right?
Oh, absolutely. If I were him, and if I was one of these schools, like I would take a chance on him as a bottom half P5 school,
Hmm.
right? Where maybe I'm not at the UConn level where I'm competing for championships and second weekends right now, because I do think he needs playing time. And those are schools that I think are more apt to take upside swings. I live in Raleigh. NC State just hired Will Wade. A lot of NC State fans want Wade to go after Abraham. And I think something like that makes a lot of sense because Will Wade is turning over one of the worst rosters in Power Conference. NC State did not make the ACC tournament this season. And there's going to be opportunities for him to play at NC State, more than likely. And if there's not, that's very telling. Then you can transfer down again next year. Like, I think for him, I want the opportunity to play and prove myself. And there's going to be playing time, I think, available for him still at schools like that, that are bottom half of their leagues, maybe have new coaches or a lot of roster turnover where there could be spots. I think it's too early in his career to do the full down. I mean, it's still time to go back up. But the fact you didn't really play, I think I want to at least get my foot in the door and see what the game action is like and see really where I'm at.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. But yeah, one thing, do we give him credit for having championship pedigree? He is a national champ.
Is he?
He was on last year's team.
Was he?
Yeah, I think he was there. Pretty positive he was there.
I don't give him pedigree.
Okay, I didn't know. I mean, he was in the program.
The UConn dust doesn't rub off on you when you play 9 games.
That is more than fair. It is March, and that means that March Madness is upon us. And if you are looking for a place to play, Underdog Fantasy has you covered. Sign up and deposit using code SLEEPERS, that's code SLEEPERS, to receive up to $1,000 in bonus credit plus a free pick. Head over to Underdog Fantasy today and use promo code SLEEPERS to take advantage of this amazing offer.